Hi, hello all. I am Soumya. I am working as assistant professor in SNS College of Technology, Coimbatore. In this session, we will understand what analytical patterns are and what they are important and how we can identify them using different types of chart. First, let's we see what are analytical patterns. Let's start with what numerical patterns are. These are common shapes, trends, or behaviors that appear when we visualize the data. Think of them like data stories that keep repeating. For example, if sales always increase during December, that's a trend. A repeated behavior in the data. These patterns helps us to understand, predict and explain what is happening there. Some common analytical patterns include trends. Trends is nothing but upward or downward movement over the time. Then clusters. Similar data points grouped together. Then outliers. Values that don't fit the rest. Then correlation. Relationship between the two variables. By identifying these patterns, we can gain the insights, support decision making and tell better stories with the data. Next, why are these patterns important? First, they help us to spot the trends or abnormal behavior. For instance, if sales suddenly drop in a particular region, it can be quickly spotted through a visual pattern. Second, they make the analysis faster and easier. Instead of going through rows and rows of data, a simple chart can instantly show what's happening there. Third one is they improve the decision making. When you see patterns, you can make the informed choices like when to launch a product or which group of users to target. So, analytical patterns make data easier to read and more useful in the real world. Then, common analytical patterns with example. Now let's we see one by one with example. First one is trend. A trend shows a direction in the data over the time. For example, monthly sales might be increasing. That is an upward trend. If they're decreasing, it's a downward trend. We usually use line charts to show the trends. Then second one is cluster. A cluster is a group of similar data points. For example, in shopping data, you might find one cluster of customers who buy frequently and another who buy rarely. Clusters are often seen using scatter plots. Then outliers. An outlier is a value that doesn't match the rest. Let's say most students score between 60 and 80, but one scores 20. That's an outlier. We can spot the outliers using box plots or scatter plots. Then fourth one is correlation. Correlation shows a connection between two variables. For example, as study has increased, marks may also increase. That's a positive correlation. We visualize this using scatter plots to see if one variable changes along with another. Each of these patterns tells us something meaningful and help us to explore what is going on in the data. Then visual understanding. Let's now talk about how we actually visualize these patterns. Each pattern is best seen through a particular type of chart. Choosing the right chart helping us to highlight the right insight. First one is line charts. Line charts are used to show the trends over the time. For example, a line chart of weekly attendance can show if student participation is increasing or decreasing. Line charts are also helpful for identifying the seasonal behavior such as higher usage during the exam periods. Then scatter plots. Scatter plots are helpful when we want to check if there is a relationship between two variables, which is called correlation. They are also good for spotting outliers, outlier points that may stand out. For instance, if most students study for 5 hours and score 70 marks, but one studies 1 hour and scores 95, that's an outlier. You will see clearly in a scatter plot. Then histogram. Histogram shows the distribution of single variable. They help us to understand how values are spread out. For example, if most students score between 60 and 70, or if marks are spread widely, histogram groups the values into bins or ranges so as the frequency for each range. Then bar charts. Bar charts are great for showing the ranking and frequency. For example, you can use a bar chart to show the number of students in each department or the top 5 most purchased products. Bar charts are easy to read and helpful for comparison. Now we are going to conclude this session in short manner. Use line charts for trends and use the scattered plots for correlations and outliers. Then use histograms for distributions and use bar charts for rankings and comparisons. And choosing the right charts makes your pattern easy to see and your message clear. Thank you for watching.